Hi, this is your host, Train Room Gary, saying welcome to my YouTube channel. Train Room Gary, Detroit Mackinac Railway, a Train Room Gary production. Z Stuff for Trains, Crossing Gates and Block Signal Detectors, available in G, S, O, H, O, and N scales. In this video, I'll be doing a detailed demonstration on how to install Z Stuff crossing gates. They come in a pair of crossing gates and a pair of block signals, are also called dwarf lights or dwarf signals. Make sure you follow the detailed directions supplied by Z Stuff. There's a lot of diagrams in here. During the video, I'll point out the important diagrams. If you follow these directions and watch this video in its entirety, you'll be successful at installing crossing gates. So all aboard for an adventure with Train Room Gary. All right, we're back on the workbench. Over here is the crossing gates, and I got an old line-out transformer that I've been using to test things out. So that's my testing procedures. The goal is to get this all working on the workbench before I take it over to the train layout and start installing it. All right, I'm going to be following this plan here, double track layout with the one sensor for each track system. We'd better to have four, but I usually run my trains in the same direction, and being a toy train layout, I have a lot more forgiveness than the guy that's doing scale work. So over here is the crossing gates. I'll be installing these, and left behind are the two dwarf lights which activate the crossing gates. So let's see what happens. Okay, I got power going to the first dwarf light that's going to send a signal to these crossing gates to open and close. And we got the red and the green, but I don't have the wire yet going to the crossing gates. That's going to be the next problem to deal with. This is a test. Right now we got the green. Let's pretend my finger's a train going by. Pull my finger back, and it didn't rise up. There it goes, it's rising up. Sometimes delay system in this. Alright, I got this set up on the workbench. Let's do a bird's eye view. This is the first dwarf light, and on this side's the sensor. So the train's going to come by, the steel ruler will be the track. Over here is the other dwarf, and the sensor's right here. Now they're sitting crooked because the wires are going to go through the table and make them sit flat. And this is where the bell is located at. Flashing lights. And this. So right now I got it set up according to the quick start guide. And then we'll start working down and fine tuning it for our layout. Alright, what I've done here is I prepared 2 foot sections of these 4 hots and 4 commons, because each one of these little devices will have a common wire and a hot wire. So I'm now preparing these. You gotta do this above the table, because once you get down there, there's no way you can do this stuff. Alright, I'm using 6040 clear flux solder. One of the last things I bought at Radio Shack. And what we're going to do here is heat up the wire and then add the flux. Actually, flux and solder. Goes. I like it a little bit heavy because I don't want this coming apart, man. There's chasing down a short on a model train layout. It's just about impossible. So I gotta do this 8 times, because each of the 4 devices get 2 wires. So there's my set of wires. I'll bring it back when I get this all soldered together and taped up. So it has to fit through the hole in the table. Alright, at this point, you can see I have the flashing lights here. This was a test where you put all your common wires together and all your hot wires together. So that'd be all the black wires together, all the red wires together. Then there's a blue wire that runs between these two. You gotta connect that one too. So this is the test where I'm at right now. So I have all the reds together, all the blacks together, and all the blues together. And it seems to be checking out. I also been using this Craftsman meter here to check for continuity of my solder joints to make sure that they were good, that there weren't no breaks. Alright, what I'm doing now is I'm making the platforms that are going to go under the crossing gates. And I got a bunch of these little pieces of balsa wood here. I put balsa wood over that plywood, made it back square because my cutting was kind of sloppy. I didn't use my table saw. Anyways, these little pieces will go along here to kind of give it a look at some kind of, you know, steel reinforcement. And just being, you know, flat looking. I'll just glue these on with, you know, super glue. It's a fancy name for that, but that's the glue I use. Squirt them off with balsa wood. Got all the sides done. Even got a slot here for the wires to go through. I'm just going to paint these with black. I thought about maybe a gray or a rust color, but I think I'll keep it the same. I just use acrylic paints in this little tub here, palette, and I'll just paint these things black. All right, I had to go get some wire. This is kind of a handy little setup. It has your basic colors for model railroading, and goes the red and the black's the most commonly too. Occasionally, got to do these runner wires, and they're usually in blue, green, and yellow, and occasionally in white. No white in this box. Our next test is, it says to put your hand in front of these dwarf lights, and they should go to red in both of them. We got the red, pull my hand away, goes to green, and they're both going to red. So at this point, A-OK. Now, next problem is, it comes with these little bag of goodies here, and I'll show you what's inside of here. Inside this little bag is these wire nuts and some screws to mount this, but there's this little card that's going to stick on the base of this thing, and there's 4 switches on the base of this one with the little, where the bell's coming from, that controls all this. Now this is where it's going to get interesting for me, trying to figure out where to put these 4 switches at according to how the testing works. Alright, I have all the wires connected now. Now when I do this, you can see here, went from this green to the red. Everything's flashing, but this is where it's going to get tricky. On the bottom of this unit, there are 4 switches here. So I have to go back and find out what combination is going to work to make this thing work for my setup. Hopefully I can resolve this issue with those 4 switches. This diagram is some of the directions. This is the bottom view. I stayed with the factory settings, no chaos, all works. So my recommendation is leave these alone to the very end. Okay, Adam, let's do a test of the gates. Set that back up. That's the electric eye. Can you put that back up?
Can I see?
Yeah, I'll have to come over and pick you up. You want to try? Can you reach that far?
No, I can't.
Oh, no. All right, do it one more time, Adam.
That's going to be my turn.
I'll put it next to behind that little dwarf thing here. This is a diagram from the directions. Must have the correct alignment of the sensors or the gates will not work. The green arrows show where the sensors are located on the crossing gates, and the red arrows show the proper alignment. If you get this right, you'll be at home plate. So let's go install them. Alright, I gotta drill 2 holes for the wires, a little oversized. I put a little pilot hole here, and let's take it through. I drill a second hole on this side. Now you can see what I did here. Took a wood chisel and cleared this area of scenery away, or ground turf. That platform should fit in there. Same thing on this side. It's going to go right there. Now you have to have some wiggle room here because you have to adjust. There's a beam that's going to go across there, and they have to align. So this one I could probably fix in place. This one you want to leave a little loose to allow a swing to do the alignment on the laser. You keep saying laser, just electric eye. Alright, what I'm going to do here is just use some acrylic paint, kind of fill this in. This is going to be roughing it in, and I'll come back later with some shrubs and things. But the ideal is to get rid of this plaster color here. And this is a sand color, like I said. This is just roughing it in. And then when I get everything done, I'll come in and then do the final scenery work. You can see it kind of hides the white area. This is just a base to get rid of that white. just one more thing. Printer number 2 on your home printer. Use a glue stick, glue it to just above the word tracks, because we have 2 tracks here. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comment section. As always, cheers from the Detroit and Mackinac Railway.